folks, Transit Joe here, and one more transit video for today because a lot of y'all tell me that that's what you want to see, and I said okay, I'll make more transit videos, but I'm gonna still do my other videos too for just some people that emailed me in or messaged me and said, yeah, they want more neighborhood videos or more train videos. That's coming up. I'm retired now, so um, this channel may not be going anywhere, but that was never the intention. You know, you got people there that'll cover just about everything with much better skills than me, and others don't. But I'm not gonna put them down because I know they tried. And we're gonna stick more to transit because there's not a lot of people posting videos of transit experiences, especially ex transit supervisors and even bus operators. I wish I was, but there's not. So you can check out the other videos in the playlist. Sometimes I explain positions, the job functions a little better. So I'm not gonna repeat myself. You can check out the other videos at will. And but anyway, this incident happened, and when I'm recalling some of these serious incidents, I know it's within my right to give accurate details and all that, or where it happened. I'm going to tell you everything that happened exactly how it happened, but I'm not going to go into details of where it happened. I'll give you a general location. And I was advised to do that by, not as a legal advice, but maybe out of respect to people, or. But anyways, this accident wasn't my first serious accident. That happened right after I started, almost as a supervisor. But I was a supervisor, and I was making my rounds. I always did. I would always kept moving. I did my job, I think, very well. And I was stationed. Well, I stationed myself at a terminal near downtown Miami for a little bit. Once I saw the service was running okay and all that, I decided to go to my next station or intersection or whatever that I was going to check out that day. So I left that station, and I was just going to. I had a long red light, and I was going to make the left, the red light. A bus had left the station too. It was a she. I remember that. Was honking the horn at me real loud, and I said, "Okay, what's going on? Maybe a passenger problem on the bus or whatever." So I stopped right there at the traffic lane, and she had gotten off the bus, and he goes, "Oh, this is an accident. Terminal is an accident." I just left that terminal. It just happened. I said, "Okay, I'm going. I'll go back." So I went back, and sure enough, the bus was turning into the terminal, and the car had rear-ended the bus. I called radio, and I says, I drove into this 17, which is an accident, at such and such location. Put me on it, and they said, yeah, the call just coming in. So they put me on it. Seemed like a minor accident. Car rear-ended the bus. Bus slowed down to go into the terminal. You know, you got to make the turn slow, and the car rear-ended the bus. Not major damage to the car. I went back. I interviewed the guy. I asked him if he was all right. The guy kind of was like my age, maybe a little older. I was in my early 30s. He kind of was a little stocky like me, and friendly as hell. And he says, buddy, do me a favor. I'm a private investigator. I have a gun, a firearm in the car. I have a license for it. I don't know where it went, but my ribs hurt. So I might have to need to go to the hospital. I said, okay. I made sure that fire rescue was en route. They were. And he says, just tell the officers that I'm a private investigator, and they'll know to get the firearm, and they'll secure it, and my boss will pick it up later. There's also a radio in the car which I used to talk to my boss, and I was talking to him, and I don't know where that radio went. I don't worry about it. Anyway, rescue came. The guy said he had his ribs hurt. He slammed against the steering wheel, and it was I tell you the car. The car was a mid '80s two-door GM car, like maybe a Cutlass Supreme or a Monte Carlo or that type of car was very popular at the time. And he had actually bent the steering wheel on it, but like I said, the car wasn't damaged, wasn't disabled or anything like that. And the officers, they got there, and that's the first thing I told them. I says, "Listen, this guy is a private investigator, private detective, whatever you want to call it. He's licensed to carry a firearm, and he says it's somewhere in the car. He don't know because it rolled what he hit with impact." And I says, "Okay, we'll take care of it." And told him about the radio too. And says, "Yeah, we'll take care of it. We're gonna leave it all. We'll take the gun to the station. We leave everything else in the car. We're gonna have to impound the car because uh, nobody to drive it." So okay, They gave me all the information. I did my report while I was waiting on them, and I got all the information to do my report, and they cleared us. So okay, police officer came and says, "Okay, we're gonna wait on the tow truck, the wrecker, but your operator's cleared. He can go." And I said, "Okay, thank you." And I looked at the schedule on the paddle for the operator. I told him where to pick up the schedule at. Gave him the case number and all that stuff that they need. And as the bus is taking off, I see an officer running at me. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Stop the bus, stop the bus." So I got in the sight of the rear view mirror where he could see me, and I was going like this, stop, 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 and he stopped. And I said, "What happened?" He says, "Oh, we have to do a crime scene." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "The driver expired at the hospital." I said, "What the hell? What? It's hardly an impact." He said, that's what they told us. So we got to wait on traffic homicide." And it shocked me. It hurt me because I had a conversation with the guy. They said he was bleeding internally. They couldn't save him. But it changed my life as the way I drove. See, I never, and I'll say some people get to criticize me, I never believed in seatbelts. I mean, I'm old school. My dad, he never wore seatbelts. He never had us wear seatbelts. I used to ride with him in his pickup truck, standing up next to him, grabbing him by the neck. When we had the sedan, my sister was small at the time. We used to jump from the front to the back seat, and play around, and nobody ever used a seatbelt. In fact, my dad used to remove the seatbelt from the car so that nobody get tangled in them. As an operator, I wore my seatbelt because I always thought this is only a lap belt. I said, if I get hit and I'm off the seat, I can't control the bus, and I may kill somebody. Who knows what may happen? So, as an operator, believe it or not, I used it. I didn't like it. I had I don't have one around here, but one of those heavy-duty paper clips that I used to tug at the seatbelt so it could be a little loose on me, and that way I don't have anything tugging on me at the time. And buses, they use a lap belt. Now some of the new ones, I think they have a shoulder belt too. But so as an operator, I did use it, but as a supervisor, being in the car, I never used it, especially all that stuff, all that before computers, all that paperwork, all that stuff that you carry with you. You constantly had to go to the back seat, reach over to get something. I never used it. But after that, I said, that could have been me. It wasn't that hard of a hit, but if he would have been wearing his seatbelt, he wouldn't even gone to the hospital. And this guy was about the same age as me. Kind of even looked at me, and we kind of hit it off. He seemed like a nice, mellow dude, and no attitude or anything like that. And ever since then, I wore a seatbelt. Personal vehicle, county vehicles, whatever. Sometimes it's a force of habit. You know, I got a bunch of cars. So sometimes I got to play musical cars in the driveway. I'll be moving the car from one slot to the other, and I've had my seatbelt on. You know, it's just force of habit. Um, but that changed my life. And since we're only 10 minutes to the video, we're gonna go into another accident that took place. This is much later. I was already promoted to lead supervisor. I was working one weekend. I remember this, I believe it might have been a Sunday morning. Um, After I became a lead supervisor, field lead, they wanted me, they meaning, you know, bosses, to be more flexible. And I had a car assigned to me and me only. And then said, you know, work some weekends, and take weekdays off, all the time to take the weekend off, work some AM, some PM shifts and stuff like that. And I did that for a long time. Until I said, you know, enough of this. I became a diabetic, and I says I need to work 12 to 8, the same shift just about every day. I can make exceptions, of course, but I need the same shift every day. And we're getting off the subject, I know, but that's another sacrifice that bus operators and police officers and firefighters and all that make. That those odd shifts and keep changing shifts is not good for the body at all. But anyways, it was about 9:30, and my car was stationed. You know, I used to keep the car at the Carlway garage. And I got there and got in my car. Well, I got there and say hi to the dispatchers and the folks and stuff there. I started getting my car ready to hit the street. And one of the dispatchers was here. Dispatcher and supervisor, same thing. Sometimes I work the street, sometimes I work the window. So he said, "Hey, Jay, you know we got a 3 going on. A 3 means 317 means accident with serious injuries. For the police, 317 could be a busted toenail, and as long as it's an injury, it's a 3. But for us, a 3 meant bad accident." And I said, "Yeah, where?" And it says, "In the Hialeah, Miami Lakes area." I headed that way, called radio, told them to show me a service, and showed me on the 15, which is, you know, backup. Headed over there with a unit that was working the accident. I got there, they had the crime scene up, the waiting on traffic homicide, so I said, okay, it's a fatality. But I'm looking at the car, and it was a small Japanese car, forgot to make, and hardly any damage in the car. Similar to the previous story. But this one had, I mean, those little cars are kind of flimsy. Had almost nothing, just, you know, busted front headlights, I think, and that's about it. And I went, you know, talked to the operator and did my thing. Traffic homicide got there, and since I used to go to all serious accidents, I got to know a couple of them, of the traffic homicide officers. And there was one guy who had a real, not bad attitude, but kind of a dry attitude. I guess the kind of work you do, you develop that as a defense mechanism or whatever, but some people didn't like the way he acted, but we got along okay. I always got along with people who are hard to get along with, in the most part. And even in later accidents, he'll see me and he goes, "Oh my God, every time I see you, there's death in the air." And I say, "Yeah, likewise, buddy." And that was a running joke between us until he retired 10 years ago or so. And then the youngsters came along and they were all right, but no sense of humor like that. But anyway, I say, "Hey, bud," I'm calling by his name, I'm going to say it. I said, "What happened here?" I said, "There's hardly any damage on the car." And he says, I'm looking at a couple of things, and here, it says, you know, he raised the yellow tape. He says, "Come on." And I says, let's look at this together. And looked at the guy. He was, he had that. He wasn't slumped over the wheel or anything like that because rescue came out and they had to check him out and make sure, that they couldn't revive him or anything. And he says, "What do you think happened?" I'm saying he must have been distracted. And he goes, "Yep." I says a bunch of he went to the bakery. He had bought a bunch of Danish and pastelitos and stuff like that for his family, I guess. Guy was a young man in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, skinny, real wiry, and he had gone on Sunday morning to get breakfast for his family, and he what apparently happened is that he either dropped a cigarette or he dropped a lighter to light up the cigarette. It was both on the ground. And he went to pick it up. The bus stopped to do a service stop, and he hit the bus. But he had no seatbelt, and then he's so light that his head hit the windshield, and it broke his neck, crack, instant death. He died right there. And I remember my previous accident, which on this video, where the guy wasn't wearing the seatbelt and got killed too. And I says, "Damn, this is the second one now." And when it really hit me was when the family got there. Somebody, I guess, recognized the car in the accident, and his family showed up. I believe it was his parents, maybe his kids, his wife. I'll never forget it. I thought about that for years. I still remember it today. I don't remember the details of the accident as well, but I still remember the suffering, the crying. It's always worse in an accident, a fatal accident, when the family gets there. The victim, they're not suffering anymore. The spirit has left the body. But their family's going to miss him or her a lot. And but anyways, we're going on the 20-minute mark. So I'm now a fan of seatbelts. Wear them all the time. Make sure my kids listen to all these stories and know what how they understand the seatbelt saves lives. And you may agree with me or you may not agree with me. That's my video for today. And take care, stay safe, wear that seatbelt. Sponsor? No sponsor. Oh, here's Squirrel. She wanted to be on the video. Beautiful cat. Maybe she can be our sponsor. Ooh, she's purring. Bye, Squirrel. Red button. Have a good one.